कि आजकल जो युद्धों का वातावरण है, जो सब लोग बोल रहे हैं कि वर्ल्ड वॉर 3 शुरू हो गया। क्या सचमुच में अभी वर्ल्ड वॉर 3 शुरू हुआ है, या इसका कुछ कहानी कुछ और है? तो इसका हम जवाब ढूंढेंगे। 1945 1980 जो वर्ल्ड वॉर 1 वर्ल्ड वॉर 2 हुआ, उसके बाद यूएन सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल फॉर्म हुआ, यूनाइटेड नेशन ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस का। तो कोल्ड वॉर स्टार्ट हुआ, तभी वर्ल्ड वॉर 3 शुरू हुआ। बहुत लोग ऐसा मानते हैं, क्योंकि कभी कोई वॉर कभी थमा नहीं। आपने रीजनल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स देखे कई। सो अभी जो है वो उसका कंटिन्यूएशन है, और इसके 3 फॉर्म है: इकोलॉजिकल, आइडियोलॉजिकल और पॉलिटिकल। Frankly speaking, the World War 3 has actually never stopped. It is, if you go back to the history, what happened during the World War 1 and World War 2, 1918 and 1945, the World War has ended, and we formed a globally multilateral institution, United Nations Security Council (UNO). The Cold War has begun between the two big powers, namely Soviet and United States. And frankly, that was the World War 3, the form of Cold War. And there were many conflicts which is mainly directly or indirectly related to, or the part of the consequence following World War 1 and World War 2. And the Cold War was kind of a breeding ground for all these regional conflicts. So the World War 3 has actually never stopped. So probably you can say many world wars has happened, but not exactly globally. You see fighting everywhere, but in the regional form. So why it has been happening, and what are the important events which has happened in the 20th century, and what is leading to the current conflict here now? We are seeing recently after COVID, we are seeing in the Europe, and then now in the Middle East. So the most important event everybody knows, 1945, which is the World War II has ended at the formation of UN Security Council. And after that, we have seen 1978, the major economic shift has happened in Asia, with the largest population country, and they have changed their complete policy towards market economy and liberalization. And in 1989, which is the most important event at the end of the 20th century, the breaking of Soviet, or the Cold War, as ended, as it is called. So at least for the United States. So the US has been leading since then as a unipolar, and the major shifts are happening in 3 primarily domains. One is political domain, which is, we see that power politics, and also the dominance or following the imperialism and colonialism. Then we see the ideological conflict, or the ideological competition, which in 1978 it took a different turn in the Middle East, and we are seeing that the direct impact in the ongoing conflict in the Middle East right now. And then there is an economic hegemony, or the competition for economic trade war, so called. We have seen last few months has taken a dramatic turn, which has been happening actually for a long time, and we have seen only that intensifying the size and scale, and also the momentum, and it's a different form. It took it happening more loudly and clearly than in the behind the doors scene. So what is it for the organizations and enterprises of various nations, institutions? What does it mean? Probably for regional decision makers, policy makers, or the government institutions, if not the larger national governments, is mainly to understand the historical perspective, and also understand the deep connotations of. I will not call this as geopolitics, because it has been oversimplified. But we need to understand that our domestic political interests are deeply linked to the global politics, and our ideological or the cultural links are connected with the larger ideological competition going on around the world. It could be ideology when it comes to different in terms of markets, or in terms of uh, uh, differences between rich and poor, or those religious ideologies. So different kinds of ideological competition is happening, and there is a hegemony as being asserted by different players in the world. And finally, the economic competition, where we are seeing the trade war, and people are using tariffs and various forms of regulatory frameworks. Like every country is protecting its economy, and doing the selective bilateral arrangement. So we need to understand all these 3 domains in depth, and understand what are our interests, what are our strengths, what are our shared interests with various players. And in the historical perspective, we have to see, and we have to project. So we don't see that in in the form of life cycles, and we keep talking about war is coming, recession is happening, and the cyclical things are repeating. So I think people are getting to trap that there is no actually conflict, and these are happening once in a while. No, that is not the case. There is a continuity of the conflicts, and there is some kind of pressures on various form of within the economic sector and resources, and also trade, and there is a disturbance in the peace and stability of various regions. And we need to form a long-term strategy, short-term strategy, medium-term strategy, and protect our interests. It is the only way forward. So thank you very much, and we will come back to you again, and understanding in depth about the ongoing conflict, and also what are the implications for the future.